successfully.
Yes, we are here. We are live with Chip and Sky. And we are starting the Ethical Underground. Chip, you want to start the Ethical Underground video? We're going to do the intro. Hit it, baby.
No loop on it, though, right? No loop.
No, loop it.
Loop it, let's go.
You're going to kill it. Here we go. Yeah. This is it. You did it. You made it here.
Everyone. Yeah, let's go.
You did it, buddy.
Presented to you by Skyjack Morgan and that Chip guy.
That Chip guy.
Yeah. How's everyone doing? We haven't seen each other in a while, huh? On your channel, it's been a while.
It has been a while. You were out there supporting Israel with vegan camp out.
Fuck you. Oh, fuck you. No, I was Oh, fuck you.
I heard that everybody that goes to vegan camp out supports Israel. That's what I heard.
No, it's not that. No.
That's what I heard.
Not true.
They put the Israeli flag on their advertisements.
No, they put it in the thing where look how many people come from many countries.
Speakers, not. And then they deleted all their pro-Palestine comments, and then they deleted anybody that had a pro-Palestine comment on this post.
Did they do that? Really?
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah. It's for people like you. All right, Chip, kill it.
Kill it. 1 second. Are we ready? 3, 2, 1, kill.
And here we are. Welcome, everybody.
Yes. I am welcomed.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. This is the Ethical Underground starring Skyjack Morgan and that Chip guy. Hey, Chip, I'm sorry. Maybe we should talk about the vegan camp out on the Afterglow, on the members-only stream.
Yeah,
because I'd like to chat with you about it, because people are texting me and calling me and leaving me voice messages about how, what do I think about all of this hullabaloo. How come Jordan and Ellie Martin are so into Israel? It's weird.
Yeah, that is weird.
It's a whole thing now. It's a big thing. Everything is, you can't escape it. But I think it's because everyone's utilitarian over there that the movement's been hijacked. So I don't know why everyone's so surprised. That was my immediate take. But let's talk about it in the afterglow.
Yeah, I don't have I'm not like a pro vegan camp out type of thing. I just go there for honestly to meet the people, nothing more. I hate that I have to pay to go there. I wish I didn't.
Well, you don't have to. You can always, I mean, I've never been, so.
Yeah, but you also haven't met the people. Right? Like for me,
I've met them all online.
Camping out with all those amazing people. Yeah, but
I've met them all online, and I'm not that impressed with the people. I'm sorry. I mean, they're fine.
I'm impressed with them. I like vegan gays. I spent time with her.
She's pretty cool.
Yeah, she's amazing. It was really cool. I was in a tent with another person, and we were all the tent thing close by, and it was a family cool thing.
Well, because of you, everyone missed last week's Ethical Underground, and that is why we weren't live last week. This week, though, we are talking about the ethics of pest control. I'm going to come at you fast, Chip. We're going to go.
Let's go.
All right, let's just jump right in, because the question is the ethics of pest control. Like, where do your ethics go when the roaches move in? What about bed bugs? Is it okay to kill them? Even strict pacifists eliminate bed bugs instantly. What does that reveal about us? What do you think, Chip?
I don't think I have a problem with killing per se, right? We all know that killing can be necessary sometimes. I think the problem is when the killing is unnecessary, right? That's also the vegan position. It's when the exploitation is unnecessary.
Exploitation, but we aren't exploiting bed bugs. It's not about the vegan position. I don't give a shit about the vegan position anymore, because it doesn't mean anything. The vegan position has been hijacked by effective altruists, billionaires, and utilitarians. So I don't care. Well, now I can't see you, Chip.
Yeah, you can. I'm right here.
All right. So anyway, but the question is it ethical to kill all the bed bugs? Just because one might get you, is it ethical to kill all of them in your house?
Yeah, I think so. I think you need to feel safe in your house. Yeah.
You need to feel safe. Okay, now let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Would that extend to killing all bed bugs?
On the world?
Yeah.
No, I think you need to kill all the bed bugs that are that have a potential to harm you. And if they're in your house, like obviously you shouldn't kill all the bed bugs in your house. Like if you have a room where there's bed bugs, but they cannot possibly reach your room or they have nothing to do with you, then yeah, there's no reason to kill them unless maybe there may be a potential there's somebody else there and you do it for them or something, but not
So you're
like I
saying
said.
that if you have bed bugs in your living room but not in your sleeping room, your bedroom, then you shouldn't kill the ones in your living room?
If they don't harm you, well, I've been having fruit flies for like a year and a half now, and I haven't killed them. So
Oh, I hate fruit flies.
me too, but I don't kill them. I try to take them out like with the cup, and I take them out, but I don't kill a lot of them.
I mean,
Well, I haven't killed a fruit fly in years, so
you haven't killed a fruit fly in years? Yeah,
yeah,
Leif Erikson. Oh, hell no. I think
not
Leif Erikson
intentionally
would.
for sure.
In the chat, would you kill the fruit flies in your kitchen? Would you pour boiling water down your drains in order to kill their larvae? Because I mean, that's usually how you kill fruit flies. You just pour boiling water down the drains. There you go, Chip. If you want to kill a fruit fly, you want to prevent fruit flies, perform the boiling water abortion on their babies.
That sounds fucking horrific. Not because first of all, not an abortion. Yeah.
Well, maybe you're killing the eggs. You don't even know if they're larvae or eggs yet. If you kill them while they're still eggs, it's an abortion, right? Because they're just embryos.
I don't think that's counted as an abortion.
Okay, okay. I think it does. Steffelson says that killing is necessary all the time. Every time you breathe, kill thousands of microorganisms. It's either kill or die. No, that's not the
Well,
same thing, Steffelson. Breathing is not actively. That's the ethic. You're going to discuss the ethics of breathing. I mean, give me a break. I mean, we've got it. We've got to. This is the ethical underground, not the hey, nobody gets killed show.
yeah, also like when it came to like you said the abortion, that's the forceful termination of a pregnancy. I don't think anybody's pregnant when the egg is out.
If
So
you have a fertilized egg, Chip, give me a fucking break. If a fertilized egg inside of a human is a pregnancy, a fertilized egg outside of an insect
yeah, yeah, but
is the
Sky,
equivalent.
if you can take the fertilized egg out of the human without killing the human, that's still called an abortion, and it doesn't imply killing them. Because abortion is the procedure to terminate the pregnancy, it's not the procedure to kill the fetus. It has nothing to do with that.
Okay, whatever. This is semantics. If you want to talk about
It's not
what
semantics, it's two
it's totally
different things.
semantics. It's colloquialism. Colloquially, the term abortion refers to terminating a fetus, killing a fetus.
It just
It's not.
happens to
It's
be
not
that.
this. It just happens to be. Yeah, but colloquially, that's how we all understand it to mean. And you could create other
That's
definitions, just like all you
no, no, no,
vegans do. All you
no,
vegans
no.
want to create other definitions for things.
I'm sorry.
Well,
Abortion is the
actually,
termination of a pregnancy. It's
well,
not. It's not
actually,
killing of a fetus. And
well,
by the way,
actually.
there's abortions that end without killing the fetus. There's essentially people who have to forgive birth, right? Like
If
after
anybody in the chat agrees with Chip, let me know. Otherwise,
you
I'm
can
moving
look it
on.
up. You don't have to
If
look
you
it
if
up
you
on
boil
Wikipedia.
if you pour boiling water on fruit fly eggs, I would say that's the equivalent of an abortion. But whatever. I'm not really interested in the the going down the. If you want to talk about it, you wanted to do the guns, abortion, and what was the other one show? Guns, abortion, and
Guns, abortion,
death penalty. Guns, abortion,
and
and
death
death penalty show.
yeah, yeah, we should do that one.
So we'll save that. Save
I
your
just looked it
save your
up, by the way.
abortion bullshit for another show.
Oh, it's not a bullshit. On Wikipedia, it says it's the termination of a pregnancy by removal or expulsion of an embryo or fetus. Let's move on.
Yeah, fine. I don't give a shit. Like I said,
Yeah.
colloquially, it is not. The understanding when people talk about abortion is definitely supersedes whatever Wikipedia is saying. The cold. So the truth is that why would you kill all of any species if only one is attacking you? So like under Chip's idea that we should only kill those that are attacking us, then we can't kill all of the bed bugs in the room, right? Just the ones that bite us or just the ones that are attacking us. After all, they're not all going to bite us, are they?
You need to feel safe. That's what I said.
You need to feel safe. So we were able to kill anybody in order to make us feel safe. So we can kill Palestinians because they make Israel can kill Palestinians because they're afraid of Palestinians.
But it has to be some form, at least there has to be some rationality behind it, because it can be rational that a bed bug can reach and bite you. It's not.
Well, there's rationality
not
to suicide bombers. Like there's suicide bombers. A quarter of the people who live in Israel have a friend or relative who have been killed by terrorists. That is a very rational response. Fear is a rational response. I mean, that's what terrorism creates, right? Terrorism creates fear. So under your logic, that because I'm afraid, that makes it ethical to kill.
No. It's not because you're afraid. You need to feel safe, as I just said, but it needs to be a rational fear.
That's so like I said, Israelis have a rational fear.
No, because it's not a rational fear towards all Palestinians. That would be a what do you call it? A generalization or a bigoted position to say that because some Palestinians do that, all Palestinians do that. But it's not that
because some bed bugs bite me.
All bed bugs will bite you.
No, they
Not all
won't.
of them. Not because but it's not that they won't bite you because they don't want to. They don't want to bite you because they don't have the opportunity to do so. But Palestinians don't go ahead and bomb because they don't have the opportunity to do so, but rather because only some of them are assholes.
But the purpose of terrorism is to instill fear. So it's a rational response to terrorism. If the purpose of terrorism to instill fear, then fear is
It's
a
not just
rational
fear.
response.
It has to be, yeah, sure. Fear is a rational response, but you have to be afraid of the right thing. It has to be a rational fear. Like terrorism can create an irrational fear also. It's not like if just because something is terrorism, yeah.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Chip, for completely derailing the show that we want to do by saying about your bullshit definition of abortion. My mother had 12 C-sections, died with her uterus intact, and didn't bury one child. C-sections are the termination of a pregnancy and is not getting abortion. Chip is technically right. Even getting a C-section is getting an abortion. Cool. Great. I'm glad we're talking about that instead of the ethics of pest control, which is what I actually wanted to talk about. We were going to save.
I moved on. It's the people in the chat who didn't move on. You moved on,
but you
Scott.
know that you're like, well, actually, if you look at the Wikipedia definition and you take it word for word, you're worse than these cross-cucks about this stuff. Well, actually, the purpose of veganism is Leslie Cross and the
Not at
you're a
all, because,
fundamentalist.
I'm not appealing to definitions or trying to be a fundamentalist. What you're saying is, I'm just saying the difference matters, and the difference matters because it's just like, I don't know. Do you want to get into this, or what is it? Because you said you don't want to get into this.
I
but then you're
don't.
accusing me of
I said
something that I have
thanks.
to
I said
respond.
thank you. I'm just thanking you.
So then stop
Bed bugs are
accusing me
not
of
known
shit
to
and
spread
so that we can
diseases,
have to respond.
but the bites can cause itching, allergic reactions, and secondary skin infections from scratching. Okay, that's a great point. So we need to feel safe, but so how do we handle bed bugs? The bed bugs paradox is always that, right? Like even the most pacifistic will kill all the bed bugs in their house, all the cockroaches, all the rats, all the mice. They'll kill them all. So so where do we get off thinking that this is ethical? And that what it makes me think about immediately. So here's the other thing. You notice that when I said bed bugs, roaches, mice, rats, raccoons, squirrels, I think most people would be like, oh, no. We live trap raccoons. We rescue squirrels. We live trap rats. We have a heart traps for rats. But yet everyone's okay with murdering all of the bed bugs for some reason. Why don't we try to... Why do we put agonizing glue traps and spray neurotoxins on ants, roaches, and bed bugs? But
we should. I think we should try to remove them, not kill them. I think that would be a valid. That's why, for example, I think there's a thing when you have a bee hive in your walls. There's companies who kill them, and then there's companies who come and relocate them. So for bees, we managed to make an effort because we understand the importance of bees because they're pollinators. Although it's kind of silly because there's plenty other insects that are pollinators other than bees.
Yeah, they're also an invasive species.
Yeah, but like we didn't really understand the importance of everyone. So like we just don't make an effort in that situation, but we should. The right thing would be to take not to kill them, but to take them out of the bed, right? Like I'm sure well, if you had the choice, Sky, between killing the bed bugs and removing the bed bugs, you would choose to remove them, right?
I guess this is where I think ethical responsibility and maybe even duty comes in. If you have the technological know-how or advantage, then you have the ethical responsibility to either invest in prevention. First of all, I think that's the most important thing, right? Like, how do you not get bed bugs, right? You take lots of showers. You don't sleep with dirty men.
Prevention is the
you
first thing, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I think prevention would be the first kind of responsibility that a human being would have for sure. We have the power, so we have to use it properly. With great power becomes great responsibility. But what happens if you move into a house and then there's bed bugs, right? Well, I don't know that there's a have a heart trap for bed bugs, but look like there's people in the chat saying, well, I don't care, kill all the bed bugs and I feel nothing. Well, I get that you feel nothing, but you've also been conditioned to feel nothing. Those bed bugs want to live as much as you or I, so shouldn't we? And this isn't about the feelings, this is about ethics. Do you have the ethic
100%.
responsibility to them at all?
Yeah, and it shouldn't like you shouldn't decide whether to you kill or somebody or not based on feelings. You should do it based on some form of logic and critical thinking.
Yeah, and so like when it comes to insects especially, there's emerging data and research on insect consciousness, which is profound, I think.
Yep.
And yet, because mammals, we kind of look at them as more intelligent, more, I don't know, fuzzy. We can understand their pain because they cry out, they scream. We prefer live traps, we prefer have a heart traps and all of this stuff, right? So
Yep.
I think that that's certainly interesting and maybe a contradiction here, right? Why do I want to kill? I mean, there's a movement to kill all of the screwworms, all the New World screwworms. There's movements to kill all of the mosquitoes in the world. There's movements to
Yeah,
kill all of the cockroaches. There's
but
there's movements in cities to
screwworms
kill. Huh?
screwworms are a very interesting case because the movement to kill them is generated by the same movement that kills animals, isn't it?
It's largely well, it's a little complicated with the screwworm, but the fact that they want to extinct the screwworm, I think, is the fact that the movement is now saying that the screwworm is a great candidate for extinction, I think, is a wild thing for human beings to be saying. And yeah, the
What do you
reason
mean
why
by
we have a screwworm problem is because of our cattle industry. So,
yeah.
what were you saying?
You mean it's a problem because we're driving a species to extinction?
Well, the hubris of the human being, because we have power, we decide that we can just eradicate somebody else, eradicate every trace of them. I think that is, that's colonialism, that's genocide, that's and why do human beings create that kind of scenario? And I think undeniably it's
But I
because we
don't.
have
I don't
technology.
think removing a species is inherently wrong. I think removing the individuals from a species is inherently wrong.
You think intentionally driving a species to extinction is not inherently wrong?
Depends on the species.
Whoa, okay. Why do you think that, Chip?
Well,
Do
I
they
don't
not
have
have
a
a right to
problem.
exist as a species?
I don't have a problem with certain plants being driven to extinction if we find out that they're detrimental and they're a species
Plants.
also. Yeah.
Why are you talking about plants, Chip?
Because what I want to emphasize is that there is no inherent value towards species itself. It's just the individuals within the species. So I wouldn't be appalled by the idea necessarily of driving, because I think a lot of people make this mistake, right? Where they're like, oh, it's so bad to drive a species to extinction. Yeah, sure. But that's not the bad part isn't the fact that the species will no longer exist. I mean, yeah, that's something that can affect us. But the bad part is that you killed or unalived all of these innocent sentient beings. You don't have the right to do so. So if a species has 5 billion animals in them, and I kill uh, 1 million of them, it's still genocide, but I wouldn't, but it doesn't drive the species to extinction, so it would still be bad, right? Like it's not the species part that's bad, it's just the killing of the individuals that's bad.
I mean, you're splitting hairs, and you're assuming that collectively we have no rights, and certainly we know that, especially in the insect populations, they exist as colonies, they exist as large groups. So to eradicate them completely and cause them to be extinct intentionally, it is not only, I think, a violation of collective rights, but it's also what gives the human being the right to do that whatsoever. Like when you say, oh, well, I don't care if a plant, well, I think that's really myopic. I think that's borderline, just foolish, because a lot of plants, a lot of species rely on only one plant. Like, for example, if you said, I have no problem making bamboo extinct because it annoys us, and then all the panda bears go extinct.
But Sky, I already mentioned that I think the only problem with that would be that it has an effect on the sentient beings, not on anything else, right? Like, but as long as a plant is actually detrimental, as I explained, like if there's a species of plant that's detrimental to everyone, why not eliminate it?
But that's just your. First of all, they're not. There's nothing detrimental to everyone. There's nothing.
I mean, there is. Humans are, for example, detrimental to everyone. If humans weren't sentient and they would be just as detrimental to everyone as we are, then I think we should remove them. But humans are sentient, so we can't remove them.
Human beings aren't detrimental by virtue of the fact that they're human. They're detrimental. They're like, human beings are no more evil than any other species. We're just more powerful.
Oh no. Yeah. We're just powerful, and we're a little bit stupider than a lot of species. Yeah.
Right, but then you turn around and say our power gives us the ability, and I have no problem with them making deciding which species gets to live or die.
No. I think my clarification was that I don't think it's about the category that the individual is in that we need to be worried about, right? Like I feel like a lot of people don't have a problem with killing certain animals because they're not extinct, but if they become like deers, right? Like deers is a good example. People, like if deers became extinct, people would have a problem killing deers. Just like people have a problem killing certain wild animals because they're extinct. But because they're endangered, yeah. But certain wild animals that are not endangered, people don't bat an eye and they have no problem killing them, right? So my point is, like, people place way too much emphasis on the species aspect of it. Oh no, this species is endangered, as if somehow that, I mean, I'm sure it matters to ecosystems and to our benefit, but the moral aspect of it is not because we would have a detriment if we eliminated the species. We shouldn't say it's wrong to genocide a whole species because we will have a detrimental to it. No, it's wrong because of all the members of that species. And by that logic, it doesn't matter if all the members of that species
you're just focusing. Your bias, you're just revealing a bias that you prefer looking at the micro versus the macro. But there's certainly an argument that the macro, of course it is, because you're saying it doesn't genocide doesn't matter. Actually, it only matters to the individual who's being killed. But genocide does matter, because you eradicate, in the case of human beings, you eradicate entire cultures. And you could say the same thing about animals. If you committed a genocide about what's that?
Cultures don't have inherent value.
Cultures have an inherent value? Sure they do. We respect each other's cultures.
No, I think cultures have inherent value on account of the individuals practicing the culture, not the cultures themselves. Like, for example, there are cultures that no longer exist. They don't have inherent value other than some historical or information value, but they don't have inherent value as in, oh no, that culture is important. No, it's just a thing that humans do, right? Yeah,
I mean, I am Brett Barnes agrees with you, because there's so many people in your crew that think that speciesism is that sentience is everything, but sentience isn't everything. Like this idea that no one has any value, a mountain has no value unless someone's looking at it. I find that to be just so arrogant. And
let me clarify. I think
you've said it before on the show that if you blew up a mountain and no one was living on it, the only thing that would matter is that people might miss the mountain.
Yeah, I mean, let me clarify. So I don't think objects have like I mean I don't know in the whole context of the universe what the fuck of value can an element that's grouped together in particular atoms and then end up being a mountain or something has, but I think that you can obviously say that sentient beings have monumentally more intrinsic value than other life forms. Other life forms have monumentally more intrinsic value than other non-life forms. So you can at least say it that way, right?
I don't know. I mean, we always have this again hubris to decide who has value and who doesn't, what has value and what doesn't, and then
But
we
it's not a
constantly.
decision.
It is. We constantly trip over our own dicks. We say this mountain only has the value that we see, which is maybe a mineral within it, and so we'll strip mine it. We'll completely destroy that mountain because the mountain has no intrinsic value. Well, it does have intrinsic value, perhaps. And what usually ends up happening,
What
we
intrinsic
destroy the
value would it
mountain,
have?
we destroy the homes of millions of animals.
Yeah, but that's not
We
intrinsic value.
we change the microclimate of the region. We do all sorts of things that are unforeseen because we've decided something doesn't have value.
But that doesn't have intrinsic value. If the mountain, like I say, if a mountain in isolation doesn't affect any form of life forms, then I don't think it has value. No,
I think it does because
let's
it.
put it this way, Sky. There's a mountain somewhere on Jupiter that might get destroyed today. Or I'm fairly
Yeah.
certain there's such strong storms there. Do you think that there's some inherent value being lost because that mountain is destroyed?
Uh, it depends. It depends on what's killing it and whether and who decided. I suppose. Like if you like, I do think a lot of people, rightly so, were a little upset that Elon Musk crashed a rocket into the moon. There have been no craters on the moon for I think it's like 350 million years or something crazy, like a
Yeah.
huge amount of time. I forget how many years. It's in the millions
Yeah. Yeah.
of years. Nothing has crashed into the moon and left a mark, and
Yeah.
yet. Now Elon Musk has left a mark on the moon, and it does seem like a violation because the moon belongs to everyone, and I mean
Yeah.
everyone,
'Cause it
every
affects us.
species, not just because it
Affects
affects us. If there's an affront to the violation of the natural world, the biosphere, I suppose. I guess the moon wouldn't be part of the biosphere, but there's
I think it is.
definitely
It's part of the natural world. I
yeah, it's part of
find
the
it part of
natural
the
world.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, but like
you just reminded me of a quote from Marie Saint-Exupéry that says that the look up at the sky and ask yourself, has the sheep eaten the flower or not? Like there's the line about how if I'm the only one who cares about a flower on some distant planet, does it matter? Right, Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. Sorry. If you love a flower that lives on a star, it's sweet to look at the sky at night. And if a sheep came and ate the flower, do I not have the right to be sad?
yeah, but like that's extrinsic value.
I mean, yeah, but we don't know who has it. Hey, how you doing, Sweaty Pie? How you doing there, Sweaty Pie? Thank you for being a member, Benzo. Love you. Thank you to all the moderators today. I don't think that's true. I think the moon gets hit all the time. Nothing. The moon doesn't get hit all the time. Vegan Johnny Vegan Seed. You'd be surprised. The moon doesn't have like the gravitational force to bring a bunch. But whatever.
It does get hit, yeah, as far as I know. It does get hit also. But
Look
not
it
a
up,
lot.
guys. It's been millions of years since something got hit that hit it in a significant way that left a mark. Okay, maybe it gets hit by cosmic dust or whatever. I don't really give a shit. The point is, I think that people have a right to be upset that the technosphere violated the biosphere, and it seems like we are. Well, I want to get to that. Hold on, we're jumping ahead. But the moral baseline seems that everyone cares about these fuzzy smart animals, and everyone doesn't care about bed bugs, roaches, and all of the insect life, even though there's emerging research that says they're just as conscious and just as feeling as mammals. We just aren't able to see it as readily because they don't express themselves the way we do. But also, we have to bring up crop death, Chip. Agriculture relies on pest destruction, which is field mice, voles, insects crushed and poisoned for organic crops because they're crushed and they also use dead animals in organic crops in like the actual fertilizer. Is a bloodless experience for humanity even possible?
No, I think I don't know if it's possible. It's probably not practicable would be the right word to say.
All right, so I wanted to bring up the idea of natural rights, and this is something that because I moved into a house that had been vacant for a year, no one had lived here, and at night, guess who moved in, Chip? And over the year where no one was here, guess who moved in?
Animals.
What kind of animal do you think moved in the night? Cockroaches, that's right. I moved in, I thought everything was fine, and at night they came out. And they were very I guess friendly. They didn't care that I was standing there. I literally dropped a peanut that I was eating, and a roach came up like a dog and started eating the peanut in front of me, Chip. Like ran toward me, which to me is something I have not experienced with roaches. Usually they run away from me. These roaches had no fear of humanity. I also
Yeah.
I was sleeping on a kind of a floor mattress, like a fold-out, roll-out futon thing, like a Japanese style. My monkey brain woke up in the middle of the night. I'm asleep. My conscious brain is asleep. I woke up, grabbed behind my shoulders, crushed whatever was there, and threw it. And then I woke up. It was crazy. Like my reptile brain. Like I've never crushed a roach between my forefinger and my thumb, but there I was, crack, boom. I heard it hit my water bottle, like bing. It's metal, And then I wake up and there's a roach struggling for his life, and he was making quite the fuss that I smashed him between my fingers, and
Poor baby.
he was making quite the fuss. He really did want to live, Chip, this cockroach.
Obviously.
So, but now I've got roaches crawling on my body as I sleep. It happened again where I woke up in the middle of the night, found one on my leg, and again, it's like my brain is not awake when this happens. It's a very bizarre experience, I think. I wonder if anyone else has experienced that, where your monkey brain takes over and your conscious brain is not there. So I had to make some decisions, Chip.
Yeah.
I had to make some decisions, and those decisions included a lot of research. Okay, so first of all, rats and roaches. Humanity has this thing called castle doctrine, where you clear a house in self-defense. But what do you think is the difference between clearing a house of self-defense and absolute territorial dominance? Where is that line?
It's a hard line to define.
It is a hard line to define. What is the difference between territorial dominance and self-defense?
When we include insects, it's a very hard line to define.
It is. Oh my God. I am there. Lambretta Barnes. I lived in the UK, and I promise you there are roaches. I have seen many roaches in London. I don't know what you're talking about. We don't have cockroaches in the UK. In London's part of the UK, as long as London's part of the UK, you definitely got roaches, son.
Yeah, I don't know how to define this, right? Because at some point, like obviously you would say that you should live into your bare minimum needs, but then it's so hard to define what your bare minimum needs are, and then how much, like, is the room that you're in right now a bare minimum? Probably not, but if you have some insects there, you don't want them there, so it's like it's hard to define.
So here's where I'm trying to define it. Okay, so first, when you think about territorial dominance, you think of like, this is mine. I need to dominate whatever is within this property line, right? But we made that up. We created that, and rats don't understand that, right? A rat has no concept of private property. To them, your home is like a warm rock with a buffet. A roach just has a nice warm spot behind your, behind your oven or dishwasher. He doesn't know what castle doctrine is, right? He's just trying to live another day. So I think that home invasion versus pest invasion, right? A home invasion, if someone breaks into your house, you have the right to stand your ground and protect what you have, because the human being does understand private property, does understand personal property, understands castle doctrine, understands that this is somebody else's space. The roach does not. But I wonder if this is a natural right or a right that we made up. Is it an observational? Can we observe this in nature without doing the natural fallacy, right? Without appealing to nature. And of course, there are lots of examples of animals doing something like we do. Many birds weave nicotine and mint, the cigarette butts and mint that they find into their own nests in order to kill parasites, in order to I think that's fascinating that somehow birds know this. Yeah, crazy to me. Mint and lemongrass and other different herbs and things that they find, they weave into their nest in order to kill parasites. Bonkers to me. They're literally using, pesticides. And then beavers, of course, they have a dam that they keep very, very secure with violence, but they also have latrines where they will shit and piss in a separate building, and they kind of almost like a honey trap for pests, and then they'll build around that. They'll build latrines so that pests will be away from their homes. I think that's crazy, and also the territorial violence we see with animals. Even hummingbirds, they'll have their little area and they're super territorial when other hummingbirds come in and encroach upon it. They're super territorial versus other birds, period. So is it a natural right to protect one's own domicile, Chip? Do you think that's a natural right without appealing to nature?
I think what I learned about birds, also speaking of that, is like the birds that build nests were the ones that reproduced more, right? It's natural selection. So therefore now we just see all around us that most of the species of animals protect their nest or somehow live in an area where they eliminated any threats to them somehow, right, where they live. But that's natural selection. That's not to say that that's the right thing to do. It's just what happened to bring us to this position, right? It's just it just happened to even for nature, I don't know if it's it could be that now there might be species who don't even need to do that anymore, but they do it just because it's in their biology or something. So maybe now we'll see the opposite of that happening.
But it's not just natural selection. Birds teach each other. It isn't, because birds teach each other. We have examples of culture within within a bird species, where birds that live over here have a different architecture of nests versus birds that live over here, and it seems to be not because out of necessity, but out of just how they've taught their offspring. That's not natural selection. That's culture.
It is the birds. No, the birds. Yeah, obviously they developed a culture around it, but the birds that build nests are the ones who reproduced, and the birds that didn't because maybe the ones that didn't build nests died off because of predators and stuff, right? So the ones that build nests,
but they build different styles of nests. Like their style is different.
Obviously, there's also culture to it. I'm not saying no, but I'm saying the act of building a nest is a natural selection act.
Sure, but I mean, it's a natural selection act that it seems nearly every animal on Earth seems to share. So it might be an observable natural right. It might be a right, one of those God-given inviolable rights. Thank you, Kathy Skywalker, for the contribution. Make the roaches pay rent, or GTFO. I mean, the thing about roaches is that cockroaches do spread disease. They live they don't disregard feces. They spread E. coli, Shigella, norovirus. They're very, very good at spreading diseases because of how they live. They'll live on they're also extremely resilient. Everyone knows all the stuff about roaches, but I think with cockroaches is particularly interesting because they are proven to spread diseases, and they're not just annoying. So when you kill roaches, you are preventing the degradation of your home. And it seems that every other animal also does this. So we might be observing a right within us. Now, whether or not that's a right, I think it is, first of all. But I think that where we get into ethical conundrums is how those rights manifest themselves in this nuclear bomb style approach to everything that human beings seem to take. Do you know what I mean? We don't ever
Yeah, I
want to
mean, obviously, yeah,
we're not
obviously we
weaving
wanna.
mint into our fucking
I don't think any other animal wouldn't do the same thing we're doing. I think they would. I think they just roaches pose a danger to our well, not our survival. I guess our survival, you could say it, but since they're in our house,
Yeah.
and we do that because of that. But I just looked it up now, by the way, if there are animals that don't build nests, and apparently there's even birds that don't leave nests, that don't make nests, like common mewers, which they lay eggs directly on bare rock. But this says exactly the same thing, right? The reason why they do it there on cliff edges is because probably there's no danger there, right? Like at the end of the day, what we all animals want it's security. And when another animal, another species, or anybody else puts us in a place where there's no we feel unsafe, we want to eliminate that safety, and our instinct is to eliminate all the things that make us feel unsafe. But whatever
The nesting
eliminate means,
instinct,
right?
like even the common pigeon doesn't build nests as we would normally understand them because human beings bred that trait out of them. We have created birds that don't build nests. That's why pigeons, they just put a couple sticks down and lay their eggs. There's no nest because we bred them to be in captivity in columbariums where we built little houses for them. So now they don't build nests, right? So however an animal lives, if an animal lives in a bear, does a bear build a nest? No, but they go into a cave
They go
and they
into a
have
cave, they go into a cave, yeah.
their little spot, right?
Because they want safety. It's the same thing, right? They all want
Right.
safety.
We all want safety. So at some level, as an animal, I am also just another animal seeking safety from a cockroach or from
Yeah.
yeah. All right, but the question then is, when does seeking safety become unethical then? Because seeking safety can be used to justify a lot of things. And this is where we get into some trouble, I think. But first, I think that the tension here comes from like a nest defense as a biological natural right, but we could be committing a naturalistic fallacy, especially when we put a step of technology between us and the animals. So like glue traps are great because, well, great, I say great in sarcastically, because they kill an animal with, or an insects and animals, with 72-hour dehydration and starvation. Rodenticides kill animals with internal bleeding and secondary owl poison. It kills owls too because the owls think they got easy pickings and they eat the rodent and then they get internal bleeding. We have live traps and quick snaps. But at the end of the day, isn't that just the trolley problem? Have you heard about how the trolley problem, if you ask a person to, everyone knows the trolley problem, 1 versus 4, you pull the lever, the trolley kills the 1 versus the 4, right? And almost 100%, nearly 100% of people will say, yeah, I pull the lever and the trolley goes ahead and kills the one person. But if you have to go up to the person and kill them with their bare hands or push a fat man in front of the trolley in order to stop it from killing the 4 people, you get a drastically lower number of people who are willing to do that. And I think what that does, it shows human beings' reliance on the proxy of technology to excuse our violence. So guns, we all know that it's easy to shoot somebody rather than strangle them, but also the tools of cruelty like drones or I think the nuclear bomb. And I think that the best example of this is the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, where they said, and I've heard now recently a vegan tried to defend the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki because they said, well, it's going to be harder to go and do it the hard way, actually do an invasion and, take over a country, and we got to save our boys, so we're going to drop an atomic bomb on people. Does my natural right of self-defense and saving my home, Does it justify dropping an atomic weapon on Japan?
No, obviously not. There has to be no anxiety there, right? Like again, has to be some form of rational fear, not irrational fear. Like,
Is very rational. Churchill published this thing. Now it's apocryphal about his numbers, but at the time he believed those numbers, I think, and the people believed the numbers, that it would cost so many American and British lives if we continued to fight in the theater of the Pacific, and it would cost all of these lives if we continued to fight the old-fashioned way. So we
Yeah.
need to drop the atomic bomb and vaporize 1 million people in 2 days.
well, obviously that's not an ethical position because it's, I don't know, utilitarianism is stupid because like when you start when you start putting numbers behind people, you end up with justifying these horrific things, right? Because it's not that, like, let's say, even hypothetically speaking, you have this amazing calculation that if we dropped the atomic bomb, eventually less people would die than if we didn't drop the atomic bomb. All people would say, well, okay, well, then let's drop the atomic bomb. But it would be different people that would die when we drop the atomic bomb. It would be less, but different, right? So if I'm one of those people that dies during the atomic bomb, how is it justified towards me to be the one who dies when I wouldn't die otherwise, right? Like everyone else would die around me. It wouldn't be justified. So this whole idea of
Because Japan was
utilitarianism-
an invading force. Japan was actually invading
Yeah.
China and Korea and all these other countries
Yeah,
in the
but, like,
Pacific.
civilians in Japan shouldn't have to pay for it. I mean, I guess if you drop an atomic bomb on the army, or if you kill all the soldiers that would have otherwise invaded, it would be one thing, and you could make a case for that. But you can't make a case for killing civilians that have nothing to do with it.
Okay, so then can we justify killing cockroaches in New York City in the sewers who are not in the apartment buildings? They're not bothering anybody down there.
No.
But we have municipal departments of killing, and almost every city in America has, and in Europe. I've seen the traps in Europe too. Yeah. They have municipal programs of killing mosquitoes, for example, where they put these giant traps in the and rats. Yeah. So is that justifiable?
I don't think it is, but the reason why they do it is because they try to limit the spread, right, of pests, as they call it. Because if they reach people's homes, then we would end up doing the same thing, right?
For better or worse, this was the argument people used for killing the Japanese. They called them.
But, well, now the argument comes. I was going to finish. Now the argument comes on whether the same insects that would reach your home or anybody else's home would be the insects that would live in the sewer. And I don't think that's the case. So that's why I don't think it's necessarily justified. But then we also built, like, I don't think we as a society are doing very well, we as humans, because we did build these areas which are kind of easily, dominated by insects or insects that we don't like including roaches. And then these roaches, obviously, they multiply and they leave, and maybe they come to our houses, and then we're like bothered by them, and then we say, well, then let's kill the ones from the sewers. So it's like, it's kind of stupid, but I think we should just do a better job at it. I don't think it's justified to kill the insects in the sewers or
maybe it's justifiable to kill all of them, to kill every roach on planet Earth. I mean, like you said, that a species doesn't have any intrinsic value, especially a roach, one that's universally reviled.
Yeah, the species doesn't, but the individuals from the species do.
So, I mean, why not kill all of them, since every individual in that species is reviled by every other individual of every other species?
Because it is reviled, you said?
Yeah, like every animal on Earth hates cockroaches, except maybe roadrunners. Roadrunners likes to eat them.
I think I made the point fairly clear. It doesn't matter whether it has to be some form of rationality behind it. When you commit violence towards
this is rationality.
It's not rationality that you hate them. If I don't like Americans,
they hate them based on rational idea. What the hell are you talking about? We know roaches spread disease. Every animal on Earth knows they spread disease. Sure. Every animal on Earth hates them.
Yeah, but it doesn't justify killing the ones that don't or cannot possibly reach you, right? Like, if there's roaches in the Amazon, why would I kill them?
Well, I mean, because I don't know, because of some idea of duty toward, I don't know, some rare bird that's there that hates the cockroach too. Same reason people want to kill predators in order to save gazelles or some shit, I guess.
Yeah, but ideology without the rationale behind it is stupid. It ends up justifying ridiculousness things.
It does. It ends up justifying the atomic bomb is the point.
Yeah,
Ethical
exactly.
license against Pest is one of the oldest bits of pro-violence, pro-exile, pro-internment state propaganda, says an honest doubter. True, absolutely. This is why this is why people like Donald Trump call immigrants rats and vermin. It's why Hitler did the same thing. It's why American propagandists did the same thing during World War II about the Japanese, but curiously not about the Germans, which I find very interesting, that someone that's a clearly different phenotype from the majority of Americans during the 1940s is animalized. But the Germans never were. They never tried to call the Germans vermin or rats or anything like that, but they did with the Japanese. And I think that's actually why so many assholes will defend, even today, the dropping of the atomic weapons on them. The United States is being the only country to ever do it. Yeah.
That's also why I have a problem with labels.
Thank you, Honest
right?
Utter.
That's also a big problem I have with labels. Calling them pests, calling them like all of this is just a recipe for disaster, isn't it? Because we've already established that we as humans are nothing more than a chat GPT machine with the biological machine, right? We just place labels and then we work by labels. We don't really think. I mean, sure, there's people who can think like you and I, but like most people, especially the people I meet on the street, like, what's the difference between a dog and a cow? Well, they're just a cow. Well, they're livestock. Well, livestock can be a dog also. Livestock is literally just a label we place on one animal.
But livestock's a different thing, though, Chip, because livestock we're killing for money. And now I know people do kill rats for money, but the reason for killing rats, again, the reason why we kill rats are not because of Black Plague. I mean, I guess in your house you might think so, but the number one reason for killing rats is agriculture. We kill rats because we have giant grain stores for cows, and that attracts mice and rats. It's also why we have cats as pets, by the way. We when human beings started collecting and warehousing grain for their animals, it attracted mice and rats. That attracted cats in Egypt. And all of a sudden, now we have rats, cats, mice, all sorts of animals living with us. And crows, too, and all sorts of animals that people have called pests over the years. I don't know, kill the rats and the fleas jump off to find a new host. I mean, the fleas jump off either way. I don't know if you've ever been around a dog with fleas. Everyone gets fleas when the dog has fleas.
I just wanted to finish on that whole label thing. This is a problem with labels, and this is a problem with calling this. And species is another label, by the way. Also, hence why I don't think it has any value. Labels don't have value. It's the individuals behind the labels that have value.
You and your end of. Okay.
Because that's what it is. Like, we need to keep our mind on what the surface versus actual content of it, right? Label is just a surface thing. It's just something on top. It doesn't mean anything. It's genocide is bad because of the individuals being killed. It's not because of right? Like, that's the whole thing.
That's one of the things that are bad about it. That's not the whole thing. I mean, there's a reason why killing an entire culture is worse than killing a dude. Like, there is a reason there. And it's not just the number. No, because there's a great loss to all of us, and I think to the world, when you destroy a culture. I mean, we know this, that when the Roman Empire fell and they split from the Byzantines and all of these things, they lost recipes to things like steel and concrete, and there was this great void, and it created the Dark Ages where people were stuck believing in magic for 1,000 years.
Yeah, but that information doesn't have to be lost, right? Like,
during a genocide, it sort of does. That's when you burn everything.
So if you take a culture and you eliminate everyone, like, I want to understand, you have a million people in this one culture, and you can preserve all aspects of the culture and kill the people, and you have a million people who, when you kill them, you don't lose any culture. Do you think there's any difference between the two?
When you lose everyone who speaks a language, Chip, you lose the language. I don't think that hypothetical is even remotely possible. You can't keep a language if everyone who spoke it is dead.
I don't care about languages. Why would you keep a language?
I care about language because it stretches people's minds. It creates a better experience for all of humanity.
We can still study that. Latin, we still study Latin today, and it's a dead language,
Latin
right?
Latin was never potentially never actually spoken. People always spoke some kind of form of Latin, which is why you have Romanian and whatever they spoke in Rome, and Spanish is because people had Latin roots and written language, but they didn't walk in the streets speaking Latin like we understand, like what the Pope speaks and shit. That's not what actually happened. That was just lingua franca, so they could speak to many cultures written. But that's neither here nor there, man, because at the end of the day, things like culture, things like art and language, they do contribute to the experience of humanity, something that we're all involved in. And if you kill one, like when the Taliban destroyed the giant sculptures of Buddha, these massive things, they just killed them because Islam hates Buddha, and so they just destroyed both of them. Or I shouldn't say Islam because I don't want to get into that. But the Taliban definitely hated the Buddhists, so they blew up these beautiful giant thousands of years old things. And now they're gone. And I think that's a great loss for everyone. And you're like, no, there's no intrinsic value except for the people like them.
Yeah, but that's not intrinsic value. You said it's lost forever. It's lost forever, and that's extrinsic value.
Yeah, I know. But at the end of the day, I think that because so many people would have not even enjoyed, I guess, just that there's a loss. There's a loss.
I'm not saying, by the way, Sky, I'm not saying that culture doesn't have value, just to be clear. I do think culture has value. I just don't think that the reason why genocide is bad is because of the loss of culture. And I'm sorry, but like,
it's one of the many reasons why genocide is bad.
I think genocide is bad because of the loss of the people, the loss of the individuals, and it's bad because you're choosing whether to unalive those individuals based on their culture. It's not because the culture dies that we shouldn't be sad. Oh no, they genocided all those people, therefore the culture is dead now. Oh no, no, we should be sad because they chose to unalive those people based on based on their culture. Like, it's not the loss of the culture; it's the loss of the people because of the culture, right? I don't know. I feel like if you could remove all the people without removing the culture,
Okay,
wouldn't you say? Because that was my whole question. If you could remove
I know.
the whole people
I don't
without
think you can remove all the people without removing the culture. I don't think that's possible. But at the end of the
Let's say
day,
you can. Let's say you can. Would you have a problem with that?
of course,
Yeah, because it's
killing all the
that-
people and leaving the culture would also annoy
And
me.
would you say,
Yes.
yeah, so would you say, like, how much, like, if you if you could quantify it, how much worse one is versus the other?
I'm not a
How would you put it?
utilitarian. I don't place value. I don't place dollar
Yeah.
value signs on everything.
Me
But
neither, but
I mean, but
I
you
just
sound
think
like
that-
one, Chip.
no, I'm just like, I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to understand to you because, like, we discussed this whole thing about, like, how in this context it's bad because of the culture being lost, but yeah, I don't know, like, it's like saying,
Okay, but the reason why the culture has to be destroyed in a genocide is because one group thinks that the other culture has demonized the other culture to the extent
that's the bad
where
thing.
they're afraid of it, and because
And
of
that's
that
the bad
fear. Yeah, so say Sky, leave the roaches culture intact. I mean, honestly, if roaches didn't live in feces, I think we would have a much more friendly relationship with the roach. They probably wouldn't be everywhere either. The fact that they can live on shit is
But Sky-
probably.
yeah, the female genital mutilation is a cultural thing in some words. I have no problem with that disappearing.
William Talenti, would you rather a group lose their culture and live or keep their culture and going to die? I mean, this is what the Spanish Inquisition was about, right? This is how you get white supremacy. This is how you get colonialism. This is the birthplace of colonialism. Is we don't care about your culture. We'll let you live if you're willing to take on our culture, if you're willing to assimilate or be
But I still
conquered
would rather
and
have
worship
that.
our
I still would.
gods.
I get it. It's still bad, right? Like, but I would still much rather have that.
It's tyranny. I don't think it's preferable. Okay, everyone gets to live, but you have to worship our god. Like it's just a life of enslavement.
Yeah,
I
but,
guess,
like,
is it better? Oh well, at least they're all breathing. I'm
I'm not trying to say, like, obviously all of these gods and cultural stuff have value to people because, you know, they matter to some people. And I understand in the context of exploring, I don't know, the possibilities of what our mind can do, spirituality and all that stuff. Exploring culture in general, having multiple sets of culture also helps. And especially if you have people already practicing that culture, it can be even more interesting because you get a deeper understanding of the culture itself.
Or just
But
of yourself. When you study other cultures, you understand your own better. You understand others better. You understand yourself better. This is one of
I
the
guess
worst.
because I'm a materialist. Is that what you call them? A materialist that thinks only
Sort of.
yeah. I think I might be a materialist because I'm one of those people who like I understand the value of software, but I don't think like software on its own has value, right? Like software on a computer, software running on a computer has value, but I don't think that software on its own has particular value, right? I don't know if you understand what I mean.
I think I do. Like the ethereal doesn't have necessarily value because there's nothing tangible about it, and you believe in the physical world more than. But I guess like
But I also can change my mind on this because I'm not set on it. Like I feel like to some extent I can understand the value of because sentience is an emerging property. It's like software and it definitely feels like it has value. So then I'm like, okay, maybe I'm not a materialist then because I definitely see the value in sentience. So
I
I don't
feel
know what
like
to tell you.
I
You're
feel
right.
like
Like
sentience
it's
again is narrow-minded and
it's
myopic.
not.
People focus on
It's
this
not.
one thing. Yes, they do. It's just one thing that you picked out of a
I
bag.
think
One
I think you have an allergy towards sentience
No, it's
whenever
just
because
one
I didn't
quality
even
that
bring
you've
it up.
chosen. No, because I'm aware of other philosophies like the ethics of care and
Sure,
the ethics
sapiens is
and
another example.
ecofeminism and even Marxism. These ideas of collective value and that we have value in our relationships with others, that morality might live in the relationship that we have with everything, not just everyone. And that's something that I'm it's not about changing my mind, is that I want to keep an open mind about those things. I'm not saying that a rock is alive, right? I'm not going that far, although there are people that will. But I do think that it would be wrong to bust that rock to turn it into powder if we can establish and understand that rock has relationships with other stuff and other things, other
Yeah, but that's the whole
creatures.
point. The rock only has value in relation to life or
No, because
sentient life.
the rock might have value to, as far as I mean, it could. I mean, I know it might sound stupid, but it could have value to other rocks and other a river or a. I mean,
Can't have value
it
to a
might not be a
river.
sentient relationship. It might not be a relationship with a sentient being. It could be something that. I mean, this is why people are talking about giving personhood to rivers and shit because they.
I'm sorry, Sky, but that's ridiculous. Are you telling me that the shape of a river somehow is has value?
Well,
And
I think
I mean, like, well, I
absolutely
mean,
it does.
let me
I
put it
mean
this way.
that's easy
I
enough
take this.
just for human beings that has value.
There's water in here. Fuck.
Uh-huh.
And if I pour it in a bottle, are you telling me I'm removing the value of the water in here because I put it in a different shape?
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm
But
saying
I'm
that
removing the value from this.
I'm saying
All the elements.
that morality and ethics. See, this is what I mean. You're a sarcastic kind of like wink,
No,
winking
I'm trying to.
idea. Like this is what
I'm
I mean.
trying to get to an
No,
absurd
you're not. No, you're not. You're being deliberate.
reality.
You're
I'm
being
trying to get
deliberately
a simple
obtuse.
thing.
You're being deliberately obtuse and dismissive. But
I'm
there's a
not.
whole body of philosophy, a whole corpus of work talking about how morality might exist in the interrelationships of everything. And I think that on this spaceship called Earth, we have we as ethical humans, we have the responsibility to consider such things. That we're all in this together, and that includes the mountains and the rocks and the rivers and the air and the fucking clouds and everything.
But it's only in relationship to, again, to individuals who can experience or
That's
even life.
arbitrary. That's completely
Sky,
arbitrary.
I'll even give it to you that it's in relation to life forms at least, but not. It's absolutely if there's no life form, like imagine there's no life form in this water bottle. You can't tell me that the water inside of it has some form of the value because it's in this bottle or something. If I move it from this place and I put it in a glass, it doesn't strip away the value or remove the value, or right, like it's the same. Like if a rock is made of some form of metal and I remove parts of it and I put it somewhere, it's not
everything
removing the value.
everything
That's
that
the whole
you're
thing.
everything that you're saying is simply the hubris of humanity and animals like us that place us at the top and create this hierarchy where the value is only existing because we ascribe that
No,
value.
explain to me
And
how
that
that's value. I'm trying to understand. I'm not asking. I'm not saying
because
that.
because
Explain to me
because
how is
because
this
what you're
value.
doing is what a lot of debate bros will do. They'll create some ridiculous hypothetical about water in a bottle. It's not even fucking close to
Literally,
what I'm
when you
talking
told me,
about.
no, because when you told me a rock, like a mountain that has no life on it, that's rocks only, it's exactly like water in my bottle. It's just chemical substances in a certain arrangement. And then when you take that rock or destroy that mountain, you just take all of that all that chemicals and put them in a different arrangement. So if I take the water from this one and I spread it in different arrangements, it's the same thing, right?
Whether or
That's
not
what
it's
I'm
the
trying to
same thing is
explain.
irrelevant. You could say the same thing about human beings. If I kill a man and that man is turned into, and all of his molecules go into the earth and are gobbled up by all the worms and the
But there's the
microorganisms and
emerging
whatever,
property.
then there's nothing immoral about it, right? Because I'm merely taking one form, a collection of chemicals, and creating
There's the
another.
emerging property. That's why there's sentience, because there's the emerging
No,
property
that's
nature
an
that's going.
arbitrary ascription. You've ascribed the value on sentience because you've decided so. But I think that
No,
is arrogance,
because
and that
it's just
arrogance is
respect to an
human
individual.
centric, and I think it flies in the face of I think it's a middle finger to all other schools of philosophy, and there's a lot of philosophers who are talking about the interrelationship of everything and how maybe morality might be something closer to that. But hey, I guess, yeah, from Pest to Rocks. I mean, this is the Ethical Underground, everybody. If you haven't gotten here before, the Ethical Underground, we try to bat at the fences about ethical conversations and see if we can argue about stuff. But thank you all for being here. Like and subscribe.
I'm just saying, like, obviously with enough, I believe that with enough complexity, some form of emergence will always happen. And depending on the type of emergence, there can be value to that emergence, as I just acknowledged in this particular stream. But I don't think that moving some rocks from one place to another necessarily implies any form of moral aspect to it, especially if there's no implication towards any form of
We
emergence
essentially okay.
whatsoever.
We don't know whether moving this group of rocks to this group of rocks, if that causes anything. We don't really know. And I'm not
But
saying like, I mean, we as human beings, we have to navigate the world. Wherever we go, we leave footprints, right? Wherever
but
we
Sky, I'm
go,
sorry.
we step on ants or whatever. Like,
Yeah, but the whole point wasn't that, right? Like, like the point, the reason why I bring up these hypotheticals or these things is to isolate the uncertainty of it, right? To isolate this idea, to remove the uncertainty out of it. Obviously, when it comes to uncertainty in a real world scenario, a mountain will have value because of all the insects, all the animals, and all the stuff that
because
lives
of its
on it.
relationship to everything on Earth, not just that.
Yeah,
If
but
you
it's a
if you
relationship to life on Earth and to
we
everything else on Earth that impacts life.
Not necessarily. I mean, you call it life, but you hate plants. You think that plants have no sentience and
Okay,
therefore
plants.
they don't matter.
I
And I
even, I
think
even,
that I
I
think
even know
I
I
think
described to you. I described to you in this. You didn't listen to me. I don't like it when I'm not being listened to. I
you say
explained
it
to you
all the
very
time. You
clearly.
say it over and over
No,
again that
I
plants don't
replied to
matter
you.
as
I
long as
said
no
that
one's living in the tree. You can cut it
I
down.
refined my position in this very stream. I explained to you my refined position, and I said, I'll give you this. Non-sentient, non-life forms matter not at all. I don't think non-life forms matter to our knowledge right now. Life matters over non-life, and sentient life matters over non-sentient life.
This is just
I don't
another
think it's necessary.
hierarchy. This is just another
It's
hierarchy
a
that
higher, yeah, it's a hierarchy, but it makes sense.
it makes sense, I suppose, from a human-centric view. And I'm saying is, I'm not saying that
From a
rocks
logical
have
sense of
rocks
view.
have will or something like that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying only this: that morality and ethics, if we are going to have an ethical life, if we're going to get into the weeds about ethics, we have to consider other, very sound philosophical points of view about the intertextuality or interrelationships of everything on Earth, and that if you, there's evidence now of just random things like an animal dying in the Sahara creates an entirely different. It could affect weather patterns on the other side of the planet.
But that's the whole point, Sky, that I was trying to make. I agree with you that in on this context, but that's not intrinsic value, right? That's the whole point that we were discussing. And that's extrinsic value. That means that externally, the way that happens, that affects others, and it's extrinsic. And I agree with you on that one. It's just that the intrinsic value, I don't think intrinsically a piece of wood has any value. I'm sorry, I just don't think if I take a piece of wood and I shoot it into space without it affecting Earth or anybody else, and it just literally goes into a path that it hits absolutely no planet anymore, it just goes a piece of wood that's just flying into space. I don't think there's anything intrinsically good or bad about it. It's just a piece of wood flying into
Maybe
space.
not. Maybe not. But this is the problem. You will say, okay, well, that is now my normative theory, and no matter what I do, then it's all just nihilism, and that is, first of all, I think boring. But I think it's also narrow-minded. It's narrow-minded.
No, you're misrepresenting my position. When did I say anything about that?
Because if you extrapolate or take it to its logical lens, that's where you end up.
I just said a piece of wood there's the nobody. It has no implication over somebody. If I take it and I shoot it into space, it means nothing.
Sure. I mean, probably. Sky is going to rescue rocks before a dog from a burning building. Again, extemporaneous things might reveal biases, but that really doesn't matter. I mean, I might save a girl before a boy, or I might save a young person over an old person in a burning building. All that does is reveal biases about me, not philosophical normative theories. It doesn't speak to ethics whatsoever. Those fun kind of scenarios and hypotheticals where we're saving animals from burning buildings and bullshit like that, it's completely useless except to expose biases, which is fun, I suppose, but kind of useless for our purposes here.
I agree with you on that one.
Yeah. Okay, so great. Oh, colonialism won out for a reason, superior value. Colonialism did not win out for a reason, superior value. It won out because of technology, and technology is exactly where I was going here. Drone warfare, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Technology, I'm not saying makes us evil, but it creates a power imbalance, and that power imbalance gives us enough distance from the evil to make us do extremely bad things, because it necessarily separates us from the visceral reality of harm. The slaughterhouse being far enough away where you don't hear the pigs screaming for their lives as they go into the gas chamber. Even the gas chamber itself separates the workers from that, even though most slaughterhouse workers are famous for going home and beating their wives or abusing alcohol and drugs because just self-medication, because it's a fucking horrific job to put animals into concentration camp situations every day. But it creates that's exactly what colonialism was, right? If you could kill people from far away with steel rifles and poisons and cannonballs, it makes it a lot easier to exploit people. That's colonialism. Not because white people were more valuable or had more intelligence. It's just that they had technology and they were able to exert their will upon others. That's all. Same with cops. Yeah, same with cops. And correctional officers actually have the same symptoms as animal producers, as slaughterhouse workers. I think that's telling. I think that's very telling. They're detached, yes. So I guess that's where we get into, like, to me, the ethics here is, where is our responsibility, Chip? So when it came to the roaches in my house, what do you think after doing all this research, what do you think my first thing I did was?
Try to find a way to remove them from your house without unaliving them.
I tried to prevent. So I bought this extremely potent peppermint spray, and I sprayed it all around my house and everywhere I could. And did it solve the problem, do you think? I saw it did almost solve it. It did solve a lot of the problem, but no. After the spray, the non-lethal spray, is when I found the roach on my back. So escalation? Is it warranted, Chip?
Yes. Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, I think it's warranted at that point, right? Now they're crawling on me as I sleep. Okay, so
And now you
then
have to choose the best way to do it, right? When
so
it's a
now I
necessary
think
evil, you have to make sure that it's the least evil.
yes, that's where I'm at with it. So you have to try to pick the least horrible way because we are the ones with power. So that's exactly where, when we talk about things like colonialism, we have to try to figure out, because we are the ones with all the power, how do we not be despotic? So the next step I took was boric acid. Boric acid does kill roaches, but you only spray it where you think they might be living in your house, like behind the stove or behind the dishwasher, around the drains, near the entrances of your houses where you think they might be coming through, stuff like that. Under baseboards, you kind of put this powder down, okay? And when they crawl across it, when they groom, they die. And but again, I'm only trying to kill the ones in my house at this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it solved the problem?
No.
No, it didn't solve the problem, man. I still got fucking roaches.
Of
So
course, 'cause we don't. That stuff doesn't work. I tried.
it does work, but even after 7 days, I was still seeing it. It helped a little bit, but I want a zero roach house, of course, don't you? You don't want a house with zero roaches in your when you don't want to
because
come home at night and see a roach in your living room, right?
Because you want to feel comfortable. It's only natural to not want to have to pick up an object and wash your hand, or be afraid that if that object touches your eye or your mouth, you get an infection or some kind of
Right,
virus.
exactly. You don't want roaches crawling on you or your stuff, or finding roaches in your cereal bowl or
That's
whatever.
the whole point of it, right? Yeah.
Right. So
Because
again,
we here in the Netherlands have silverfish. You know silverfish?
yeah, we got silverfish in California too. I saw a lot of those, but they live
I
on
never have
like
a problem with them. Yeah.
yeah, they don't spread disease, and they don't live on shit.
exactly.
They eat like carpet and like wood, and like they eat fibers.
Just go fuck yourself. I don't care. Do whatever you want. I just like them when I see them on the wall, but they run away pretty quickly when they see me. So then
They're a little squirmy. They're a little startling. I'm not. They're not scary, but they're kind of like ooh, like give you the EBGBs when you see them sometimes. When they run real.
they are, because they have so many legs and stuff.
And they're very fast, and they're like squirmy. But you could prevent those with like lavender, cedar. There's lots of things that insects hate, or they're not insects, but you know what I mean. All right, so the other one. So now I have to with building materials, they are an issue. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Books, they'll eat books. They like they like fibers, basically wood fibers and stuff. All right, so now I have to figure. I gotta up my game now, right? I gotta find a better way to do it, but without going crazy. So then I'm thinking, okay, how do I do this? Do I want a roach motel where I kill animals that I don't even know where they live or whatever? I decided against that because I don't know where that goes or what happens after that. So I hired a man, or somebody hired a man for me. Mm-hmm. And the man came and he sprayed around the perimeter of my house and under all the baseboards. He came and he sprayed everything in the house. And I have not seen a living cockroach in my house since. I've seen a lot of dead ones. I found corpses now. I've not seen a living cockroach since he did this. I found that was the most ethical thing to do because it only kills animals living in my house or coming into my house. Because if they cross the perimeter, they pick up the poison and they die almost immediately. It's a neurotoxin. They die from something with their brain, I guess. I don't know. It is agonizing. It's not great, but it only kills animals coming into my home and the ones that live here already. So I thought that was the most ethical way of handling it. What do you think?
Sounds reasonable to me.
I think so too, but I think the reason why is that I didn't go straight to Hiroshima. I didn't go straight for the gun. I tried every step of the way to try to think of a more ethical, I guess I shouldn't say more ethical. I should say less horrific, less evil? I don't know. But here's where the question now comes. This is my last question for you, Chip, and this is where I'm going to get, I think, the most amount of shit. Are you ready? Nah. 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 You don't want, if you don't want to do it, we don't have to do it.
No, do it. I just see
Okay.
a lot of shit in the chat about plants being sentient. It's kind of
Well, stop reading the chat. Who told you to read the chat? Who told you to do that?
Well, you were reading the chat at the beginning.
That's my job. I'm the host.
I might not be co-host.
You're a co-host, I guess. This is, but at the end of the day, don't worry about the chat, honey pie. Listen, sweaty pie, sweaty pie. Don't worry about that. That little guy right there. Don't worry about that little guy.
Sure.
You don't need a profile to speak. Well, you kind of, it helps. Mushrooms are fungi, are the starters of every single ecosystem. I'm not a mushroom, but some people say I'm a fun guy. Anyway, all right, are you ready? This is the final final countdown.
Let's go.
And then we're going to do the members only, where we can talk about Israel.
Sure.
All right. Macro view. If I zoom out from my little house, where I've now committed a little mini genocide, haven't I? I've committed a little mini genocide, or I guess it's been the war against the roaches has escalated. But if I zoom way out, I think about how a house is nothing but a piece of technology. And the roach does not understand that piece of technology. The roach is definitely part of the biosphere or the natural world. And we, by saying that this is a piece of technology, and that technology, and a lot of philosophers think that technology has itself its own will, that it's training us to perpetuate technology. People say the same thing about things like yeast, and there's certain wills that are at play that we can't necessarily completely comprehend. But the infrastructure, the data web, the $30 trillion global infrastructure of the technosphere, 30 trillion tons of global infrastructure versus the living ecology. There is a systemic war going on in which we are all soldiers. Now, check this out. So pests are just the biosphere trying to decompose and rewild artificial spaces, right? And a house is definitely an artificial space. We create these things with steel and aluminum and stone, gypsum or whatever. We mine things out of the earth to create these things. Yeah. And so aren't we all just hired security for the technosphere so that we keep our little capsules sterile? No. Aren't we just hired security for the technology?
I don't think you can count technosphere as obviously technology, everything we as humans have built is technology, but I don't think that's part of.
Hold on though. Technology. So, I mean, you could say that from like the wheel, right? But I think that we've gotten to a point, and I think with things like this phone and all these other things, the phone, who's driving who? Aren't I just a meat wagon carrying my artificial intelligence spyware around? And aren't I just the vehicle for this thing? Aren't I just the I'm just the Uber for this thing. I am the hired help. I am the one who has to protect the technology from the roaches and the rats and the, I don't know, termites.
I don't think you have to do that. I don't think I understand your argument necessarily, because I understand you want to turn it around and be like that, but it's not like you're protecting the phone because it helps you, but the minute the phone no longer helps you, you're not protecting the phone anymore.
But the phone doesn't. The phone no longer helps us. The phone hurts us. There's an overwhelming and mounting evidence that the phone is not our friend. The phone is not our friend at all. I mean, I'm talking about houses, but when I zoom way out, I see human beings as the hired help of the technosphere at this point. Like we've gotten to the point.
What do you mean?
Huh?
Phones help.
Phones help do what?
Communicate. I understand we use phones also for the shitty social media doom scrolling and stuff, but phones help for communication. What are you talking about?
Communication to what end?
To communicate with somebody.
Okay, so I mean, to communicate with somebody, I guess you could say that there's lots of ways to communicate with people. We've been communicating a really long time, and this iteration of the phone, even the fact that we call this a phone is a misnomer, right? We don't really use it as a
Yeah, it's not
phone.
really a phone. It's not really a phone. Yeah,
Yeah, these devices.
computer. It's a device. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've had other ways of communicating. In fact, there are now studies that show that when you talk to someone on on a traditional phone, and I hear your voice, that excites the same part of my brain as if I saw you in person. But when I'm texting you or responding to your social media or whatever, not at all. It doesn't create any kind of social value in my brain. So this idea that we're communicating, it's helping us communicate, is kind of unfounded now, because really talking to you on the phone is a much greater value to me than texting. I'm making a concerted effort now to talk to people because I think that look at kids don't want to talk on the phone anymore. They only want to text. I find myself texting people, "Can I call you? Am I allowed to call you?"
Yeah, that's good. I don't have a problem with can I call you, by the way. I don't have a problem with that. But like I don't have like I understand what you mean, that obviously with every technology there's good and bad, and as William says it, indeed maybe the bad outweighs the good when it comes to phones. But the good part of phones has become somewhat necessary nowadays. It's not even
Who made it
it's not even
necessary?
we made it, right? We live in
Did
a
we,
world
or
where
does technology have its own will that's training us to rely on these things? Like if
no,
you think
Sky,
of
we
some,
cannot. You and I couldn't communicate without phones. What are you talking about?
we again, this is more than just a phone, right? You and I might not
Yeah,
have even met
that's what I mean.
without the idea of social media, perhaps,
But
but
the part of it, I'm not saying you're right that maybe even if the bad outweighs the good, but there's in the obviously there, but so there's bad in in the device, there's good in the device, and there's also and it's
yes.
necessary in today's life, right? And
And
necessary
but
is
necessary is something that somebody decided for us. It's kind of like we make all sorts of things necessary, and then we complain about people wanting them. It's ridiculous.
it became necessary because we have a relationship, Sky.
It becomes necessary because the relationships we build based on the technology, but maybe that
Yeah,
technology is it gives us some of these good things in order to give us all the bad things, in order to
which is
separate us.
sucks. Yeah, obviously. There's obviously a
Right.
lot of sucks. Yeah.
So I mean, the good comes with the bad. I mean, you want to defend technology? We could defend technology all day long. I mean, I think
I don't want
technology
to
is.
defend technology. I'm okay. I don't want to defend technology. I
I
like
mean, I don't know.
technology,
Like
but I don't necessarily want to defend
you're
it.
like, hold on. There's actually some good shit here.
No, no,
I
I just want to say, I think what I want to say, sorry, I feel like what I want to say is that obviously technology, as with every technology, it can be used both for good and for bad, right? And I feel like, yeah, capitalism has made us cross a boundary where kind of every technology we make now gives us a little bit of good and a lot of bad. Like it's kind of
yeah.
insane that we reached this point, and it's fucked up because we no longer make things for us. We just make things for money now, and I hate it.
Or we make things to perpetuate this technosphere that we're all, again, the hired help to perpetuate. We start relying on these things, and then we start defending them as if they are
Yeah.
so important. And I guess you could say that about every piece of technology. You could say that about the old school, dial phone, right? Like the old ring, operator. I mean, even that there was bad with good. I mean, it was the military was able to communicate in ways that they couldn't before and kill many, many, many more people.
Yeah,
Wars
but
were waged because of it. Yeah, I mean,
but we're no longer like the problem is now that we're developing technology for money, not for betterment of society. Because we reach kind of a point in our society where we don't really need that much more. I mean, we need technology to help the exceptions, right? The people like treating
we need
cancer, people who cannot walk, stuff like that. But
What's
the
funny
if
is
you're
that
just
the cancer and all those things and even a lot of the can't walk stuff is caused by the technology. Like
I don't depends on the
a,
technology. I don't believe cancer is caused by phones or stuff like that. No.
not just phones, petrochemicals. You could pick out of a fucking hat. The lead in the atmosphere. You could pick anything to there's all sorts of shit that causes cancer, and it all relies on the technosphere, literally killing us. Even if you talk about animal agriculture causing cancer because of the amount of animal bits that people are eating, it's also technology. It would be impossible to raise that many animals to the extent that we're doing without a great deal of technology. But let me talk about anarchism for a second, because I think that there's something here where you have something like that. Are you familiar with the idea of the Unabomber? Do you know who Ted Kaczynski was?
No, explain.
Ted Kaczynski was a person who hated technology, and how he decided to express that that hatred was sending bombs through the mail to murder people who were working for the Technosphere. And he wrote manifestos about this, but he also had a false choice, I think: total technological enslavement versus Neolithic primitive living. He wants this idea that, we have to go back to Neolithic living in order to, keep from being enslaved by technology itself. But anarchist philosophers, people like Kropotkin and Bookchin, they consider technology like they're writing when the steam engine, all these things are coming out. They consider technology, if we are actually anarchists, and instead of doing it for money, we're doing it for the liberation from time itself, for humanity, that we're actually working for ourselves and not technology. That the only way to avoid the technosphere is to be an anarchist. So the goal is to subjugate technology, to dominate technology rather than allow it to dominate us, to decentralize technology so that we're not putting it into the hands of the few oligarchs like your nuclear power plant stuff. And then we need also to repair technology rather than letting industrial systems dictate human lives and how and when we buy new shit. We need to be repairing technology. All of those things would allow us to free ourselves from the shackles of the technosphere.
I don't like. Obviously, probably anarchism. Obviously, probably. I'm almost certain that anarchism would liberate us from techno. What did you call it?
The technosphere.
The technosphere. I don't think that's the only solution, and I don't agree with you on the decentralization. I guess to some extent, maybe decentralization will become a requirement at some point because of the nature of the human species, because we're just so obsessed with ruling over it. But I think like if we have a proper governmental system in place which can keep technology in place and create regulations that actually are built for the people and not the companies, then I believe technology can still thrive even with some form of centralization. And in fact, centralization can pose a lot of benefits to technology. Right?
I guess
World Wide Web, right?
I suppose
that's centralization.
That's decentralization. World Wide Web, at least. How is that centralization?
A common method of everyone coming together. Servers are spread all over the world, but it's a common protocol.
You can have a server in your house if you want to. Protocol. I was about to say that's just protocol. That's not centralization. To have that's like saying Bluetooth is centralization. No, like that's just a protocol. Or USB is a centralization.
USB is a form of centralization. Yeah.
USB is a protocol so that we can have ideas we can all work together. That's not the same thing.
What do
as
you mean by centralization? Then do you mean like
centralization is the means of any kind of, I would say the means of production, or else, but the means of survival in the hands of very few. Like the best example is the power station, where a nuclear silo is built, and we all have to run a wire to the nuclear silo so that we can get power. Versus everyone in their house has a little power plant, whether it be solar or wind. That's centralized versus decentralized, relying on
both. There's benefits to both.
Well, I would say there's not benefits to both. There's no benefit to centralization except to the oligarch. But there's certain things that I think that we work together better on that require centralization. But again, at a smaller scale. There's a sliding scale here that we can, I guess, argue about. But
I think if you ask me, there's obviously a lot of benefits to centralization, especially of energy. But obviously, the biggest downfall is the human nature and the oligarchy of it, as you mentioned, and that's a pretty big downfall. And it's a pity that
Human
we're that
nature
way.
human nature is what human nature is what greedy people will say to
Yeah,
defend capitalism. It's not human
but
nature.
I don't know how you want to call it, but you understand that an isolation power station that was built once is obviously it's obviously not monumentally, but it's obviously more efficient than having each person having their own power station in their
It's
house, right?
not more efficient because, again, if one house goes off grid because their solar array dies, you don't lose the entire city's power. You don't lose everything. You don't lose
I'm not asking
your.
whether it's more safe, whether it's more efficient. I understand there's a concern of safety, but you can solve that also with with centralized systems by having two power stations, right?
The only thing it's better at is making money for the rich.
No, no, no. It's
Every
also
time.
like imagine. So, Sky, let's imagine that the core of the central station is the one that makes the energy, right? Like at every power station, you're going to have a core that makes the energy. Everything around it is just to protect around the way we make energy, right? It's just things to protect around that, right? Like for a nuclear power plant, there's that whole core and everything that's built. Obviously,
Yeah.
if you're going to be building that in a lot of places, you're just going to be building you're going to be using a lot of material. But if you're just going to be building one that once, you're going to be using less material. Like centralization has some ridiculous aspect to it. Like it's the same as we know, right? If a lot of people like you can see it in capitalism as a result of it, right? If a lot of people pay for the same product, the product price can go down because it costs less because you order more, and that whole thing, right? The whole shebang, like eventually translates to that. So centralization can potentially use less resources because you don't have to build all the padding around the thing that generates energy. But I don't believe that it's necessarily good because of the way we do it, right? It's because of power
If
and
your if your
control.
if your theory actually works, yeah, I mean that's why you need to centralize so that whoever's in charge, whether it be the church or the
I
corporation
don't
or the
think
government.
centralization is because of that. I think you're misrepresenting this one actually. I think it did happen that we reached a point where sadly the centralization is now used to dominate,
It
but I don't
always
think the
was from the
centraliz
from day one. I mean,
I don't think the centralization I don't think
the earliest
centralization of
forms of
energy was because
centralization the earliest form of centralization in like Mesopotamia was this idea that I grow enough grain for myself versus I grow a surplus. I need to store that surplus. Let's give it to the
but it
holy
makes sense.
men. Let's give it to the holy men, and they can centralize it, and they can now count it
But
all and create money. And now we have this idea of private property. And the more that I fence off, the more animals I can bring to heal, the more people I can enslave, the more
think
neighbors
of it
I can, the
yes,
more neighboring
think of
communities I can conquer.
yes,
This
but
is almost
but
original
think of
sin of
it
civilization.
I think a really good example is a recipe, right? Think of it as a recipe. When you make a recipe and you need 1 teaspoon of soy sauce, and
Okay.
you're not gonna use soy sauce only for this recipe for some reason, right? You don't use soy sauce for anything else. Then you're gonna be have to be like you either have to produce that 1 teaspoon of soy sauce, which will be you can't. You'll have to produce a lot more than that, and then you'll have excess soy sauce or something. Or you produce a lot of soy sauce and you distribute it, and then everyone who needs a teaspoon of soy sauce who makes that recipe, you make a lot of
Has to
recipes
make their
out
own
of
soy
it.
sauce. Yeah, I mean
That's
you're
the
just
whole thing
talking.
about it, isn't it?
That's
Like,
just no, no. That's
that's
collectivism, not centralization. If you want to say that all of us some people will have to make soy sauce and some people will have to dig ditches. I mean,
isn't
this
that
is something
centralization?
that's just
Isn't
collectivism.
collectivism
And
isn't
soy
collectivism
sauce,
just centralization?
no, collectivism is not centralization. Collectivism is the collective owning of the means of production. So, like, if we all had to work together, and some of us are
Oh
making
wait,
soy sauce, and some
now I
of are making.
realize it. I googled it, and you talk about collectivism and centralization like as two particular concepts on a political manner or something, right?
I mean, it certainly is a big part of politics. Absolutely,
Oh, but
relying
I
on the
don't
government to
speak
do
about.
everything and being on their
I don't.
teat.
When I say centralization, I don't mean as a political concept of centralization. I mean like in general, centralization can help. Like I've seen it in coding. I've seen it in several situations when having a problem and making it centralized, it can help soften or ease or make it
Centralization would be more like we have when you using your recipe. If I want to make a recipe, what food were you making? What were you making for food?
I said.
No, but you needed a teaspoon of soy sauce to make what?
Yeah.
What were you
I don't
making?
know. Plant-based meat, let's say.
Let's
so
just
that
let's just say we're making chocolate chip cookies, okay? And
chocolate chip cookies can be soy sauce for
and so we're making chocolate chip cookies, and I need flour, sugar, some kind of oil, and some chocolate chips, right? And some kind of and maybe baking soda. I need these things to put all in there. Now, instead of saying here's the recipe, everybody can make their own cookies, I say no, I own the cookie recipe. In fact, I own the idea of chocolate chip cookies. And if I catch any of you motherfuckers making chocolate chip cookies or anything that looks like chocolate chip cookies or using my recipe, I'm going to impoverish you. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to take everything you own. That's centralization.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, that's not what I meant by centralization. Sure. That's what you meant, but that's not what I meant. Yeah.
Okay. Back to the whole thing. The last question was, I think that in order to get away from being enslaved by technology, we need to decentralize. We need to stop allowing things like, requiring everyone to be on the same teat rather than allowing them. There's cities now, like in Indiana, where you're not allowed to catch rainwater because that would mean that you wouldn't be buying water from the government. That's centralization.
Yeah,
and I think that
okay, that's not what I meant by centralization, by the way. I meant
I kind of get that. I mean, and I think that where I'll concede a little bit to your idea is that of course there's some things that we have to tackle together, things like global warming, but global climate change is only happening because we are enslaved by technology. The technologies are running the show. Our billionaires are all techno bros. Our trillionaire is just a techno bro. I think we need to. We're all living in their resort, the billionaires' resort, and they work for tech. They are techno emissaries more than anything else. That's fascism. What's fascism?
I completely agree with you that like the problem, obviously, climate change is a problem that comes from. It's a big problem of capitalism and oligarchy, 100%. But it's also. Like if you ask me, climate change is the easiest tackled with centralization, right? Like if every single person in their household had a coal power plant, changing every single person to clean energy would be more difficult than destroying one power plant and putting in energy. But that would imply like imagine if everyone had the best intentions, nobody had a malintent or power willing to dominate. You still had the requirement for energy, and everybody in their house at some point, because that's just the only technology we had at hand, were building coal power plants. They would just literally dig a coal from their backyard or something, and they put it in their power plant, and then it would generate energy for their house. And then later we find out, hey, that's bad, and everyone needs to change. Then obviously it would be much easier for one individual to just change the whole power plant and change it to another one rather than every single household to rebuild and make a new type of power plant, right?
I mean, we've been there, not with power, but I mean, where I live, all these houses used to be coal heated. All heat came from coal, and the coal truck would come by and dump a bunch of coal in people's basements or in their crawl spaces, and that would be that would be how they heated their homes.
Holy shit, I didn't even know that. I forgot.
It's one of
the. I saw it in Tom and Jerry or something. I think I saw it.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, some form of world cartoon or something. Yeah.
A lot of where I live now, all these houses used to be coal heated. I have the coal chute. I still have the coal chute, and I could see where the coal used to come into the house. It's not the first house I've lived in that's like that. And they did away with it. And one of the reasons why Albuquerque actually has such a big population is because of coal. Because up here, you don't smell, like if you had a bunch of people burning coal to heat their homes, you wouldn't smell it because of the atmospheric pressure. Like you're out, but because the but all the smoke and everything would either sip to the valley or go out to the atmosphere.
You're at a high altitude, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm at 5,000 feet.
Wait, let me see. Whoa, no way you're at 5,000 feet.
I'm at 5,000 feet. Yeah.
No,
It's all about
I
money.
don't believe you're at 5,000 feet. Really? That's very high.
Yeah. Johnny Vigasi, the water thing. Yeah, that's fascism. I mean, that's what I'm fighting against. I'm anti-fascist. I mean, that's what it comes down to. That's also why I'm against centralization. So, totally. Heating this place last year was $800 for oil. My pipes froze.
Feet. Holy crap, bro! You're so high up.
Yeah.
Dude, you have less oxygen, don't you?
So it's so interesting. Let's talk about that in the ask me.
Okay.
Just put a pin in that. We'll talk about elevation.
Okay, I'll write it
because
down.
I want to end this episode.
Okay.
And we'll do it in the afterglow for members only. Sky City Rebels, you get extra content, extra streams, and extra love in the chat, especially today. We have members only starting right after this. So I guess what I'd like to ask everybody is, first of all, are you a hired security guard for technology? Are you just working for technocrats? Or I also want to ask you, I should ask you, not or, what is your personal moral threshold? Where do you draw the line in your own home? Do you draw the line at species? Do you think that it's okay to kill roaches but not rats? Do you think it's okay to kill squirrels but not raccoons? Where do you draw the line? And at what point of your house do you draw the line? At the door jamb, at the windowsill, or at the property line? Where do you draw the line? And how do you defend your space? Is it a universal biological drive that every animal on Earth has, including the insects? And do you think that moral human agency gives us a duty to use the least cruel, most targeted means possible? That's the question for you.
I mean, you draw the line not at the individual. You draw the line at the necessity of it, like how you did it in steps. You first try to mitigate, then you try to move them, and then if not, you eliminate.
I try to prevent. I try to mitigate.
Yeah, the line isn't at the individual. Yeah. The line is at the how you do the actions and how they impact you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm working for my own survival and don't exploit animals along the way. Okay, good. And an anti-exploitation, total liberation vibe is what I'm going for. But we got to draw the line somewhere when it comes to killing. And that's about what we're talking about when it comes to ethics. I leave my phone home on every single occasion. I go camping and boating. Whoa, interesting.
That's not
it's okay to kill roaches. It's okay to kill cows. That's the line. That's a stupid... This guy's... William Talente, again, has revealed his, lack of...
Actually... I don't know. Maybe, if you're in the same situation, if it's okay to kill roaches, it's okay to kill cows in the same situation. If your house was infested with cows and you
I have a cow infestation.
Yeah, and the only way to kill them, the only way to get them out would be to kill them. And
I think William is telling us that
to your threat. Right?
See, you go the other way. I think William is telling us that he eats roaches. He eats cockroaches.
I don't know what he's trying to say, but just like if the situation is similar, yeah, it doesn't matter what species the individual is. It's just the situation has to be the same. And I don't think sorry, I think Sky disagrees with that. But to the other person who doesn't take their phone, take your phone. Don't be stupid. That's in case something happens, you gotta be able to call somebody. You don't have to use your phone. You can put it, on do not disturb or something and ignore it. But take your phone with you. It's good to have it. Have you seen 127 hours? Don't be that person. Just take your phone.
Did he not have a phone? Is that why he had to cut off his own arm?
Yeah, some shit like that. Yeah, and he didn't call anybody or some shit. Just take your phone. It's okay. You can.
I have this thing on my water bottle. It's got a compass. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I know where I'm going. But it also has and it has like a paratrooper rope, so I can unravel that and have a big rope to help me. And it also has this.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
Did you hear it?
But he also had all that. Yeah.
He had all that?
Yeah, he had all that.
He had a whistle. I'm not going to watch that movie. I just thought that'd be so dumb.
Yeah, he had a whistle. At the end of it, he started whistling when he saw somebody or some shit.
Oh, he started whistling after he cut off his arm.
Yeah, afterwards.
I try not to kill spiders either, but the venomous ones I will inside because I don't have vet or Dr. Monet. It's interesting. Venomous spiders are usually really, really shy. Like we have a lot of recluse and black widows in New Mexico, but they're usually in places that you don't go. So I very rarely see them. But if you really want to kill spiders, you just starve them. You kill all the roaches. You kill all the gnats. You kill the fruit flies. You starve them.
I have the daddy long legs in my house. I think I have like
Yeah,
8
the
of
daddy
them or
long legs.
something. I don't have a problem with them. In fact, I sometimes want to pet them. They seem like cute guys.
Aw. I like how when they're scared, they bounce up and down they bounce
But
they
they
bounce in
die.
their webs.
All of them in my house die because they don't really have anything to eat. In fact, I feel bad for them. Sometimes I
You might
try
be
to take
you might be
them.
catching just seeing their molts though. They
Their
leave
what? Oh,
they leave
their
their
skin is.
skeletons around.
Oh, that could be why. Okay, okay, okay.
Bed bugs, never had them. I've never had them either. I'm very fortunate.
Yeah.
Like I was traveling the country and living in shitty hotels most of the time. I never got bed bugs. I got really lucky. So luckily for me, witnessed a friend go through bed bugs. I hope to God I don't have bed bugs. Plus, I only sleep with clean women, so that's really lucky that way. I give every time a woman comes over to my house, I make her take a shower. Just
I
joking.
mean,
I'm just joking. I spray
well,
her
I know.
down. I spray her down with a I delouse every woman that comes to my home.
Well, I know somebody who doesn't get in bed with anybody until they have like a STD test.
Wow, Chip. Okay,
So,
great.
I mean, that's valid. I don't know. It's if you're not sleeping around, why not? What does that seem valid?
I don't know. Daddy longlegs. Daddy longlegs are spiders. What are you talking about, Smoking Blondie? Daddy longlegs are
I don't think
spiders.
they're classified as spiders. Let's see.
Daddy longlegs are 8-legged spiders. They're spiders.
Daddy long legs. Oh, that's a pretty common question asked. They're an
Some
animal.
some
Yeah,
people
they
call
are
those.
spiders. Yes.
They're definitely spiders. Some people call those flying. Those flying animals with long. I think they're called wood. I forget what they're called. Some people call them mosquito hawks. But those
Oh, I know.
long-legged, those long-legged flying animals people are afraid of. Some people think of them as daddy long legs. I've heard people call them daddy long legs. But anyway, the question is for everybody: do you think it's okay to? Do you think that you should continue working for the Technosphere? And what is your moral threshold for your own home? Please do. I think that the ethical underground's position is that human moral agency gives us the duty to use the responsibility to use the least cruel, most targeted means possible, which would be the opposite of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, I think.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for watching. By the way, dude, one of the reasons why I was talking about this dude I was talking, and I haven't talked to him since. He like asked me. Some lady came up and asked me for $1. I gave her $1. She was clearly on the skids. She wasn't. She was clearly living outside. And I gave her $1. Like I only had $1. I had $1. I happened to have $1 bill in my pocket, and that's all I had. She said, "Hey, can I have $1?" I gave her the $1. It was my last dollar bill.
Yeah.
And then he started asking me like, "Well, she's just going to buy meth with it. Aren't you contributing to the?" I'm like, I don't care what she buys with it. She needs $1. It's none of my business what she does with her $1. If she thinks she needs meth, buy the fucking meth. If you think you need alcohol, buy alcohol. Why should just because someone's poor, they're not allowed to do drugs? Everybody else does drugs. Like,
Yeah.
she needed $1. What the fuck business is it of mine what she does with it?
Yeah,
And that
it's so
same
stupid
guy,
when they're like,
I hate
they say
that,
stuff
man.
like, yeah.
I hate that when people do that shit. And then that same guy started defending Hiroshima and Nagasaki to me. And he,
Oh wow. Who you
later
hanging
on,
around, man? That's kind of weird.
yeah, and then later on, the same dude was saying that John Brown and like Nat Nat the slave rebellions, that slave rebellions were unethical because they used violence against slave masters. I'm just like, then you're on the side of the slave master. If you think killing slave masters is wrong, then you're on the side of the slave master. And then and then he decided he wasn't my friend anymore because of that.
Oh well, I think if you can remove the slavery without, if you can make the slave masters not enslaved without killing them, yeah, you have a duty to do that. But if they don't, then yeah, killing them is the next thing.
Chip, if that's the thing, right? If slave masters are literally castrating human beings, raping men and women because buck breaking was a thing, showing who's boss. I got to rape the male slaves as well as the women to show them who's boss. Like these are the things that were status quo, regular, like quotidian. At this point, when you're at that point, I feel like killing slave masters is perfectly justifiable. And I think that if you're against that, then you're with the fucking slave. Well, that's illegal, though. Killing slave masters is illegal. And? Anyway, so...
But I mean, like, if a slave master knows that what they're doing is wrong, then yes, unaliving them is justified. But if they don't know that what they're doing is wrong, then...
Ignorance is no ignorance is no excuse.
Ignorance is an excuse.
No. No.
Sky, did you used to consume animal products?
Sure.
Should you have been punished for it?
If I were, again, the separation, I was separated by technology again. It wasn't just ignorance. It was also a separation of what we were just talking about, the technosphere, right? I'm 10 times removed.
Situation.
I'm 10 times removed from the horrors of the slaughterhouse.
Say ignorance. Come on. Ignorance
It's not
is
just ignorance. Should I be punished, though? Maybe. Should I at least be shamed? Sure, certainly. Will I respond to shame is another whole other question that we can't get into. Sky gets into weird conversations. Yeah, I like having... Parallelish says it's still ignorance. Maybe. Maybe. That's a topic for a different day. We've only got 2 minutes left. Sky gets into weird conversations. Of course I do. I think that I'm a very easy person to work with, but a very hard person to have as a friend. Only a few people can stomach me as a friend. I'm really easy to work with. People love working with me because I don't get in these conversations, and I'm very empathetic. But when it comes to like...
The opposite.
But when it comes to people why? I know you think it's opposite?
I think you're an easier friend than a work colleague.
You do? I always show up. I'm always there for work colleagues. I don't talk about this type of thing at work. I'm very understanding. I'm really easygoing when it comes to work as long as the job gets done. When I was a manager, everybody loved me. I'm a great boss.
You seem like a good friend also. I don't know. Thank you for speaking.
For people like you who can take it, Chip, but you can have an argument with me and then go, oh, well, we were excited about that one topic, but like we're still friends. But some people can't.
Yeah, don't take it that seriously. Unless you
some
mean,
people...
like you want to start exploiting animals. That's a different.
Right. But like if I tell you, well, you're on the side of the slave masters and you start crying and you're going to be upset about it, then you can't be my friend. Like that, you're not going to be able to be my friend. It's too intense for you.
I might be crying and be like upset about it, but if you make a good argument for it, then I'm like, sure, let's.
Yeah, I guess says the guy who makes friends everywhere he goes. I do make friends everywhere I go because I'm friendly, and in short doses. Like if you meet me at a bar, I'm really like I went to a book club and the guy's like, I bet you're really fun at parties, and he wasn't being sarcastic, and I was like, I am. I am really fun at parties, but that doesn't mean I'm going to be everybody's friend. Like most of the people at a party are not going to be my friend because if we go out for dinner and they're eating dead animals, I'm going to be like, the fuck is wrong with you? So, yeah. I hold people to a really high standard as friends.
Rocks love Sky.
Rocks love me. That's because I'm a rock star. It's because I'm a rock star.
Oh, you're a rock star.
Could anything get done in Sky's world where we all constantly considering the consequences of our action 100 steps down the line? It's not the consequence. Wait a second, Parallelish. I love you, but I'm going to take a little bit of umbrage with that. No, I am not a consequentialist. Chip is much more a consequentialist than I am. I think I illustrated that. I think I articulated that just throughout this. This is one of the big disagreements between Chip and me. I'm far less consequentialist than Chip is. It's not about 100 steps down the line. I think that if we're going to navigate the world in an ethical way, we need to consider some things. And sometimes
What'd you call me?
A consequentialist.
Sorry,
Fucking
I know.
utilitarian.
I'm not that much of a consequentialist, though.
Look at this, all
I think
caps.
obviously, I think consequences matter. I think we should be taking consequences into consideration, but I'm not a consequentialist. I'm also not like I used to. I don't know, man, what I am. I don't want to call myself a something. I'm just somewhere in there, and I think I make.
Well, all of us,
decisions as
isn't that why we have this show? Is that like,
Yeah.
I'm a consequentialist when it comes to building stop signs and speed bumps and civic, civil engineering. I'm a
Well, I'm a
consequentialist and utilitarian
consequentialist when
then.
it comes to guns. Then you're no longer a consequentialist.
All
when it
right,
comes
so
to
next
guns.
week, Chip wants to talk about guns, abortion,
Not
and the
next
death
week.
penalty. Not
I
next
think the
week?
next 2 week I might not be able to do it the next 2 weeks also.
What the heck?
Yeah,
Chip?
next week I have next week we have yeah, it's a bit of a weird period. So next week I have the We the Free is the last We the Free. The other co-organizer is leaving Amsterdam, so we
Is We
might
the
have
Free the
last
one
We
that's
the-
super pro Israel?
No.
Keep on
I
hearing
don't
all
know,
these like
man.
super pro
I don't
Israel
know,
stuff.
man. It's the last activism event that we'll do that I'm an organizer of in Amsterdam. It might be the last one next week. And then the week after I'll be in Berlin. So that's I think.
Lord Sokata says Lord Sokata is off the rails,
Nobody
off
will
the
wear
chain.
own
Does he own
shoes.
leather shoes?
No.
No, I don't own any leather shoes. Sky,
Me
I'm a
neither.
good time. I'm a good time. We like you too, Smoking Blondie. Aren't you being friendly, Sky? I was listening to you the other day and couldn't respond. I think you should go to board game day as long as they're playing board games, not D&D. I want to go to board game day, Edward Thornton. There's a board game like place. It's called like Empire Board Games Gallery or something, and you go and you play with people. There's like a certain day where you can like go hang out with them. I want to do it. I'm going to do it. It's a little weird for me as a 6'5" middle-aged man to go by myself, but I say fuck them, fuck everybody. I'm going to do it. I'd like to think we'd be friends, Sky. I like your conversation. I don't agree with your views, but they're interesting. Make me think. That's all I want, Frankie Barry. That's all I expect from my friends. So I think we would be friends. That's all I expect. Think. There was a brew pub that had piles of games for you to play when you came in and drank their beer, and it was a big thing. They had people that would literally take pictures of the Risk board. Yeah. I like to go. I would love to play board games. I see them at bars and cafes, but I find it really kind of annoying at bars and cafes. When I go to a bar and cafe, I want to hang out with my friend and ask them why they support slavery. So that's what I'm doing at bars and cafes. Or I'm sitting by myself writing.
He's triggering his friends when he goes there. Okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah, if I'm at the bar, I'm probably triggering somebody. Yes. Lord Cicada off the rail.
At the steakhouse all the time.
Get in the chopper! We ain't on chaser! Steakhouses all the time! Great. Good for you, weirdo. I'm glad.
Yeah.
Look, keep doing whatever the corporations tell you to
gonna
do, you
get a
little
bit of
slave.
cancer.
Little
also,
zombie.
You're gonna get a lot of. You should look into how red meat is
Carcinogenic, yeah.
It's causing colorectal cancer, and white meat causes gastrointestinal cancer. So, if you like cancer, go ahead.
It's a weird thing to do to sit there. I go to steakhouses. Okay, you must be rich too. So, hey, keep on being a zombie. Keep doing what the bosses tell you to do. If that's what works for you, I'm going to question authority and not do what they tell me to do. You can't keep rushing.
He probably also voted for Trump, huh? Loros
Mostly.
Today I met a flat earther on the streets, guy. Holy shit!
You met a flat earther. Let's talk about it in the
Do you think the Earth is a globe? Do you think the Earth is a globe? Answer
Let's
the
talk
question. Yes. It was so funny. Oh yeah.
Let's talk about it in the private area.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to start the private stream right now. Thank you, everybody. This
really
stream is
private.
going to end. Please find us on the Skyjack Morgan channel. I made a little thumbnail that has little animals on it. So thank you all for joining. I appreciate you. You're beautiful. Love you so much. Benzo, Kathy Skywalker, and an honest doubter. Thank you for contributing to this hour, and I'll see you on the other side. Chip Guy, please follow that Chip Guy on Instagram and the tubes.
Beautiful. It's true.
It's beautiful. That's true. And if you're not a Sky City Rebel, please become one. Oh, you get extra streams, extra content, and extra love in the chat. Thank you, everybody.
Should I start the video?
No, I'm just gonna play the outro and go. Got it. Bye. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so friggin' much.